Hi, friends. Welcome to the Cindy Grasso podcast, where I talk about faith, the Bible, and how to grow closer to God. Today, I'm answering the question, what does the number 14 mean in the Bible, and why does Matthew highlight 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the exile, and 14 from the exile to Jesus? So I love this question because it shows us something really important, and that is the Bible is not random. It is intentional, layered, and beautifully designed. So when we see something repeated, like the number 14, it's worth paying attention to. So maybe you've read Matthew 1:17 and thought, why does this matter? Why point out the number of generations? Is there something deeper here? And the answer is yes. Matthew 1:17 says, "Thus there were 14 generations in all, from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the exile to Babylon, and 14 from the exile to the Messiah." And what I want you to understand is that Matthew is doing something very intentional here. The first thing is that the number 14 points to King David. In Hebrew culture, letters also had numerical values, and the name David in Hebrew adds up to 14. It's 4 plus 6 plus 4 with the Hebrew letters. So when Matthew is structuring the genealogy in sets of 14, he's emphasizing that Jesus is the son of David, who is the promised king through the line of David that God would send to free the world. Now, this ties directly to God's promise in 2 Samuel 7:12 and 13. Because God promised that David's throne would be established forever. And Matthew is saying that that promise is fulfilled in Jesus. The second thing is that this shows God's sovereignty over history. Matthew's dividing history into three movements: Abraham to David, which is the rise; David to the exile, which is the fall; and the exile to Jesus, which is the resurrection. So this tells us that God was present in every season, in the promise, in the kingdom, in the brokenness, in the waiting. Nothing was wasted. The next thing is that this communicates an order and intentional design. The grouping of 14 is also a literary structure. Matthew is organizing the genealogy in a way that's memorable, intentional, and theologically rich. He's showing us that God is not chaotic, he is purposeful. And most importantly, it highlights fulfillment that Jesus is the center of the story, the whole Old Testament and the whole New Testament. Jesus is the center of it. Because the entire structure builds towards one moment, and that moment is Jesus. Everything before him was leading to him. Galatians 4:4 says, "But when the set time had fully come, God sent his son." He didn't send him early, he didn't send him late, but it was right on time. What I love too is that this genealogy, these 14 generations between each one, shows us that God works through imperfect people, and I'm so thankful for that. Because this genealogy includes broken people, unexpected people, outsiders, and messy stories. And yet God still fulfilled his promise. So what does that mean for us? It means that your story doesn't disqualify you from God's plan, and neither does mine. So what does the number 14 mean for you today? And this is not about chasing numbers or hidden codes. It's about this truth. God keeps his promises, and God is working even when you can't see it. And your life is a part of the bigger story he is writing. Let me pray for you. Jesus, I just want to thank you that you are the fulfillment of every promise. Thank you that history is not random, and neither is our story. And when we don't understand the timing, help us trust your faithfulness. Remind us that you're working in every season, even the ones that feel hidden and hard. And anchor our hearts in the truth that you always come through. In your name, amen. Beloved, God is intentional, God is faithful, And God is still writing your story. You have nothing to prove, nothing to fear, and nothing to lose. And He is right on time. He will do what He promised. So live loved today. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who might need it. And as always, I am so glad that you're spending this time with me. See you next time on the Cindy Grasso podcast.